Hello fellow tankers, this is Dauntless and welcome to Scout Guide. For this episode I'll be showing you guys the most effective way on how to spot on the map Mountain Pass. Now Mountain Pass is notorious for YOLO suicide scouts that kill themselves very early in the beginning of the game, and they do this because they're greedy and they're trying to get the lights of all the heavies and mediums that are pushing across this alleyway here at the very beginning and alternatively from the other side here. And unfortunately, they end up getting themselves killed because they don't know how to spot the correct way. And hopefully, if you guys watch this video, you'll understand the correct way to spot. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of rules for light tanks. After the first push, I usually end up just kind of running around the map trying to get flanks on enemy vehicles because of the way this map is set up. If you notice that all the enemies are lit, you can sneak your way around using different corridors and different routes to get behind the enemies and really harass them. But ultimately, I'll show you how to spot from the northern base the correct way without really getting yourself killed. And this is kind of reliant on the enemy not countering you with a light tank, because if a light tank pushes across the open at the very beginning and drives across, you will get yourself lit here. But it is important that you don't push over to this bush here, which is just kind of a death wish, and also you don't want to push across right at the beginning because that is also a death wish. Now this bush right here is amazing. A lot of people actually don't know how to use it correctly, and actually I've never even really seen anyone use it. But you want to sit here and you want to sit pointing away, so if you do happen to get yourself lit, you can drive away. But the beauty of this location is that you basically extend your view range all the way to the cliff, meaning basically everything that's going to be driving across, usually heavy tanks and tank destroyers, which don't have the best camouflage value, will get lit by you. And if you wait long enough for them to drive past this tree right here, you'll be able to actually take snapshots on this, which is pretty nice. And as you noticed, you can actually rack up a lot of damage quite quickly, and it's relatively safe because if you do happen to get yourself lit here, you can easily run away. For instance, this bat chat right here is looking right over in this direction. He has no clue that we're sitting here, and he is just going to take it because, again, he doesn't maybe know he's lit. Maybe he's just a bad player. But it's really nice because all these spots are ours. The bat chat is a tank that has relatively good camouflage, but if you're in a light tank, you want to make sure you're running coated optics and have those good recon and situational awareness skills, and that way your view range will be able to cut through enemy camouflage and actually extend all the way there. Now once you've exhausted that location, you realize, okay, pretty much everything that has gone past is going to. What you really want to do here is drive up to this location up here. Now you want to kind of stay in this little road right here. There's a little bit of a path, and sometimes you get lucky like this and you can spot enemy artillery that might be sitting up here. But what you want to do here is drive up and down this corridor here and hopefully bait things to come out and chase you, and your allies will be able to back you up from behind. But also, the fact that your light tanks are usually really low profile, you'll be able to sneak up like this and get behind the enemy without them noticing. Now you can choose to stay in this corridor all the way up. It kind of becomes more risky the further you go up because, again, like this Jagdpanther U100 is sitting here. It can be a little bit sketch, but ultimately you want to just sit here and troll the enemy, and if you do get the opportunity, push up behind them, cause them to be trapped in a crossfire, and you'll be able to just farm lots of damage, and it can be amazing if you do it right. Alright, so let's talk about what to do when you spawn on the southern base. Now the southern base is not as good in my opinion compared to the northern base because there's really no bush you can sit in that gives you the right angle up into the enemy's crossing zone. Now from this position you are able to extend your view range all the way across, and you will be able to spot basically anything that's pushing across with the risk involved of exposing your body. And you want to have a really good camouflage crew when you do this, and as long as their scouts don't push across, you probably won't get lit. Now the goal here is to pop out every 10 seconds and try to spot things that are pushing across, not necessarily sit out in the open because you will get yourself killed, and Artie will target you here if you're not careful. But as you can see, like the IS, the T-34-100 that are pushing across, you were able to spot them. And as long as you have Artie on your side, and then also anything that's sitting behind you, backing you up, you will be able to get those good spots. Again, it is just a little bit riskier sitting here, but if you play it right, you can actually get a lot of assist damage sitting here, and it is one of the better locations in my opinion. There's really not a lot. I've tried a lot of different techniques, but this, in my opinion, is the best for getting that assist damage, and it's the one that I would recommend for you guys to try. And slow tanks like the Oni might take, a couple minutes to come by here, especially if they stop to shoot. So don't be afraid to sit here for the first at least 3 minutes of the game, just to take advantage of the fact that heavy tanks might be sitting there, and you will be able to get that assist damage. And the longer you sit here, the less chances of you getting lit, because light tanks are most likely going to be dead at this phase in the game, or will be falling back, and you will be able to really farm all that assist damage for your team. Alright, so the south actually has 2 locations that you can take, unlike the north base, and really it isn't anything special, but really it's just to push across this opening like this. And the reason you can get away with this on the southern base and not on the north is because of this cliff right here. Unfortunately, if you do this same tactic from the north base, you will find yourself in a crossfire where you'll be facing enemies from up here, but also shooting you from the side here, and it's just not a good situation that you want to be in. Now, this is an aggressive tactic, and it is important that you play this bull right here. And you don't want to constantly peek out, wait 15-20 seconds, peek out again, and it's really only useful if you have guys that can shoot, that are backing you up. But again, just peek up until you just spot something, and then quickly duck back down so you don't take any damage. And usually you can get a lot of spots and good spotting damage, but it doesn't always work out. Anyway guys, that was my guide on how to spot effectively on the map Mountain Pass. Hopefully you guys found it useful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a like down below, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more content like this in the future. As always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.